Hey, this is Barry Hertz, the film editor and chief film critic with the Globe and Mail newspaper in Toronto, and I am very excited to be on Toronto Mic today.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get a city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto where
Welcome to episode 1798 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by retrofestive.ca, Canada's pop culture and Christmas store. Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Blue Sky Agency. Ask Doug Mills about how Silent delivers the space to focus, collaborate, and recharge. Nick Aines. He's the host of Building Toronto Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts you ought to listen to. Kindling. Go to shopkindling.ca for free 1 hour cannabis delivery. Recyclemyelectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mic'd debut, it's Barry Hertz. You're now an FOTM, Barry. It's official.
All right, thanks for. I'm
That's
glad
it.
to
You
be
can leave
official.
now.
I'm
It's
glad to
all
be
done.
official. Yeah, it's painless. It's painless.
FOTM, I'm going to give you a little trivia to see if you actually do listen to Toronto Mic'd. What does FOTM stand for?
Oh man.
Oh, this is a dirty trick by me. This is dirty
real
pool.
dirty. Yeah, no, this isn't fair. I wasn't made aware there would be a quiz.
FOTM is friend of Toronto Mic'd, and this is a long, awkward way so I could say, welcome to the family.
Oh, thank you. That was good. Okay, see, I'm back on your side.
Well, and I am disappointed. I can't lie to you, Barry. I thought you would know what FOTM stood for. Have you ever heard a Toronto Mic'd episode before?
Of course, I've heard many Toronto Mic'd episodes. And, you know, I was actually kind of a little bit spellbound by the Ben Rayner episode from a few weeks back.
That was a different episode, wasn't it?
It was a different episode, yeah. And it was a difficult episode to listen to, but I think an important one for listeners and for everybody who cares about the Toronto media landscape.
Do you know Ben personally?
I've dealt with Ben, in the past. I think I've, when he was at the Toronto Star and I was at either the Post or the Globe, our paths never really crossed professionally. But when he was freelancing after the Star, I assigned him a couple stories for the Globe over the years. Yeah.
Okay. That episode was fascinating to me, because when you put it out into the universe and then people start consuming it, there were such different reactions. Like some people literally told me I should delete the episode.
Yeah, I saw some of that discourse going on. Yeah. I don't think you should have. I don't think that's something that anybody should do. But it was honest and it was raw and it was difficult and it was enlightening, and I think that's what great conversations should be.
I agree with you 100%. And I also felt, because, Ben was of sound mind and body and knew exactly what he was doing. He's been on Toronto Mic'd many times, and he was going to have a call with me that was going to be recorded for Toronto Mic'd. He knew all this. What does it say? What does it say if I delete that episode? Sorry, Ben, but you don't realize, you're like, no, that was Ben. I felt that was a rational Ben who's been through some shit, but he was openly talking about it. And he seemed to be, in my opinion, in pretty good spirits considering everything he's dealing with. And I felt it would be a disservice to Ben to delete that episode. I just wouldn't do that unless Ben asked me to do it.
Right. No, I mean, he was not under duress.
No.
This was an open conversation. Everybody was of sound mind and cognizant awareness. So yeah, no, I think it's an important conversation to have out there.
Now, I'm just going to throw this at you because it's very fresh and you probably haven't seen it or listened to it yet. But there is a recent episode of Karen Bliss. I'd be interested in what you thought.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. No, so I know Karen, again, just kind of professionally, byline, recognized byline kind of thing. And I remember, I saw her, one of her most recent pieces was on Chandler Levac for Spin. which was about her new movie Mile and Kicks, which is very spin centric, let's say. And yeah, I found that to be a fascinating kind of portal between two eras in a way.
Okay, when you get to the Bliss episode, you'll have to come back and do a review because I would be curious. And of course, Karen Bliss was also very interested in the Ben Rayner episode. And I do think you make a good point that it's kind of a glimpse of what can happen to you in this industry. Like I want to get it right. I think it was 2 decades. Ben Rayner was a staffer, like a full-time staffer at the Toronto Star, writing about music until that position was basically eliminated, and then he shares the story. But it's all rather precarious.
No, it's very precarious, and I think it's very emblematic of a lot of things that are going on in the Toronto Canadian, well, North American media landscape.
So let's remind us, you said it in the cold open, but what is that title you have at the Globe and Mail?
Right, so I am the film editor and chief film critic / chief film writer. When you say film editor, to a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, you edit films for the Globe and Mail?" I didn't know that. That's cool. So it's kind of like a little bit of a weird title, but I think by adding that chief writer / critic description there helps. So basically how it works is anything that is about film, movies, runs through my desk.
And you're like a full-time permanent employee, or whatever the terminology is. You're a full-time employee at Globe and Mail?
Yeah. I've been there since the spring of 2015, so full-time.
Well, firstly, good for you. Like, I'm going to learn more about you in the next several minutes here, but I would imagine that gig at that paper, that would be a goal. Like, that sounds monster to me.
I mean, yeah, it is. Like, I am not going to lie. Like, it is living the dream in a lot of ways.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, this is what I had always aspired to, certainly since like grade 7, grade 6, like early youth. And, back when I was imagining it, then it seemed like that much more of a possibility, a distant possibility, but still, a possibility. And now it's, it is like winning the lottery.
Well, how many of you are there in this country, the entire country of Canada? Like, how many full-time people are writing about film for any publication?
I mean, I could probably name them on one hand and have a few fingers left over. With a few fingers left over. I'll say, there is an association called the Toronto Film Critics Association. Okay. And last count, I don't know. It's at least 40 to 45 members in there. But
if I may interject, yes. How many of them are part of the original Sin consortium?
Well, there's a number of them for sure, and I love those guys, of course, and everybody in there. But the thing is, yes, if you broke down that membership as to who is able to support themselves full time writing about film, or even writing about entertainment, it would be a very, very short list.
Maybe it's just you.
No. I don't know if Eli Glasner is in the TFCA, and if he's listening
from CBC.
Yeah, from CBC. Although he has moved to the news beat, the hard news beat for the next little while, is my understanding. But yeah, there are very prolific freelancers who certainly make a living by doing a bunch of different things who are in there. Adam Naiman, Radhayan Simonpillai, Johanna Schneller, who's my colleague at the Globe, but she is freelance. She's not staff. So yeah, it's not a high number.
So there is a episode of Toronto Mic'd in the archives with Peter Howell, and it's a great chat. But Peter, so what I believe happened, and from conversations with people like Peter Howell and Ben Rayner, is at some point the Toronto Star just got rid of all the full-time entertainment writers.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the specifics at the Star. I know Peter is not a staffer there.
No, he's a freelancer.
He's a freelancer, yeah. They do have staff arts writers. I know, Deb Dundas used to be books editor there. I don't know if books are still fully in her purview, but she is writing as well. So she stays within the sphere of arts, from what I can tell. I don't know her personally. This is just my byline voyeurism.
Sure.
And they do have Joshua Chong, who is a full-time arts writer there, specializing in theater. They did have Richie Astley. I'm mispronouncing that name, I'm sure. who was also a full-time arts writer. I never saw his byline outside the sphere of arts, but he has left over some undetermined period over the past few months.
Okay.
Not too far off, but not too recently either. And I believe they did put out a jobs posting back in September, maybe October, about looking for a full-time arts writer, like a GA kind of position.
Well, that's good to hear. But it is shocking to me when I think back, because I got a few years on you, but when I would get the Toronto Star delivered to my home and go through it, and just the number of people writing versus now, it seems to be you pick up like syndicated, I don't even know the terminology, but the syndicated stories or whatever out of Canadian Press or whatever, Associated Press.
Yeah.
And then you do get your odd freelance from the former full-timers like a Peter Howell, for example.
Right.
You mentioned your dream job. You're at your dream job right now, and we're going to quickly learn how you got there, because I just think that title at that paper, I'm happy it exists, and B, I'm happy for you. You've got it, man. Like, that's living the dream.
Yeah.
But when I think about conversations on this podcast with people who got their dream job, one of the names I always think about is Mike Wilner, because Mike Wilner wanted to call Blue Jays games on the radio, and he got to do that. Like, he got to be the play-by-play guy for Blue Jays games on the radio. Now, sadly, they parted ways with him, and now he's at the Toronto Star. But I thought of Mike only because I was thinking of Norm.
Right. Yeah.
And I would always read Norm's reviews of movies and stuff. And when he was at Now, what happened to Now? They sold the logo, I guess. But
Right, yeah.
but just these names. And one also, shout out to my mom, who will always like message me about, I need to see this movie. And it's always a movie at that exact moment that Richard Krause has talked about on like CTV news or something. So like I could time, like, when did Krause mention a movie? And sometimes these movies, I'll be honest, are awful movies. But whatever Krause said in that moment, my mom has decided this is like an Oscar candidate or something. And then she's got to see this movie Krause just talked about. So shout out to FOTM Richard Krause.
Yeah. Tastemaker.
Yeah. And he's a big Elvis Costello fan too. Okay. So Barry, like, when in your life, you mentioned you were pretty damn young, but when did you realize that A, you loved movies, and B, you'd like to write about movies? Like, when does that happen for you, man?
I mean, I think I always wanted to be employed or working in the movie ecosystem. I think like very early on, like, that grade 6, 7, 8 kind of area, I was thinking about, okay, maybe I could write movies. And there was a store in Toronto that was on Yonge Street called Hollywood Renaissance. It was like a poster store, but like, not like a mass market, like World of Posters thing that used to be at Yonge and Dundas. It was the actual posters that were hung in theaters, and then who the employees would carry them off in the middle of the night and sell them to this guy. And he also had movie scripts that looked like pretty much the genuine thing, like somebody photocopied them but these were like the scripts. And I remember picking up a bunch of scripts there and reading them and studying them, and some of these were earlier drafts than what would eventually make it to the screen. I was like, whoa, that's not how this movie ends. Oh my gosh, there's some other version of it. And so I would basically, this was before Final Draft existed or any kind of software like that. So I would just take those and I would follow the format, and I would write my really terrible screenplays, which were obvious ripoffs of whatever movies I was into at that point in time. And, so I did that for a while. And then I very quickly realized, I don't know if I have what it takes to write a movie. I don't know if I have what it takes to like shoot a movie. There were no like camera programs in my school growing up. There was no like real like fine arts programs.
Right.
So, I applied to Ryerson back when it was called Ryerson for the film school, and you had to submit a portfolio of like photographs and visual art and a script. So I had the script down part, but I panicked and I went out and like got a point and click and shot some what I thought was really like artistic black and white shots around my neighborhood of desolate parks or something like that. And I submitted that into my package, and of course, I didn't get in. But at the same time, I spent most of my teenage career working part-time at a movie theater.
Which one?
Up in Thornhill, the Promenade Cineplex.
Okay, that's like Bathurst and 7? No.
No, it's like it's more like Center and Dufferin area.
I once had a doctor. This is because I used to work for a software company at like I don't know, it was like Highway 7 in East Beaver Creek or something like that.
Okay,
and I had a doctor in this Promenade Mall thing that you're referring to, and I used to, but then I stopped working at that company, but I still had my doctor there, and I would bike to this doctor. Like, it was Center and Bathurst.
Yeah, Center and Bathurst, but yeah.
So I know of what you speak, even though I'm not fluent in Thornhill. Shout out to Cam Gordon and Stu Stone, a couple of Thornhill crazies who are listening right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Do you know Stu Stone?
I don't. No.
Because I just had to ask because you're a movie guy, and he played the best friend in Donnie Darko.
Okay.
But he did a lot of other stuff.
I mean, yeah. So he must be close with Seth Rogen too.
Not Seth Rogen, because he's not in.
He is.
Darko.
He is. He's the bully. He's one of the bullies.
You know what? I should know that. I just saw that biopic from about 10 years ago about Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
The one with
Michael Fassbender.
You got it. And Rogen, I was thinking, this guy's so good.
He's good. He's good.
He's great in that. The Waz, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. Anyway, we're all over the place, but that's how we roll here. But so no Stu Stone shout out from Film Man.
Sorry, I mean,
Barry Hertz.
I'd love to know you, Stu Stone, but
Stu, I'm going to introduce you to FOTM Barry Hertz at some point. We'll get you to one of these events, and I'll introduce you to Stu Stone. But you were saying you were working at this movie theater.
Oh yeah, so that was another kind of touchstone, but somebody who I worked with while sweeping up popcorn or making popcorn or selling popcorn mentioned something that stuck with me. He's like, you should think about journalism because, you could be like a movie writer and that's your that could be a way into it. And I never really considered it before, even though I grew up, mainlining like all the Friday movie sections that my parents would get delivered to the house. And at that time, journalism seemed like something of a growth industry. It was around the time of the newspaper wars, like the National Post had just started up and there seemed to be actual competition and heat in the space. So it wasn't as crazy a proposition.
Okay. And were you a fan of because I mentioned that a few years on you, but you probably remember these critics from the famous critics from TV. Like I would see Leonard Maltin on Entertainment Tonight, for example. Yeah. And I used to just it was tough to track it because it was syndicated and it aired at funny hours, but hook that Siskel and Ebert to my veins, man.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I remember because Siskel and Ebert in Toronto used to air at the weirdest times, very infrequently,
difficult. Go to Star Week and find out where is it this.
Yeah, exactly. So but I would live for those things, and I had that big, this is pre IMDb. I had the big Video Hound book. You ever get that
100%
Bible?
Yeah.
I would get the new editions of that every year. It's huge, massive phone book, right?
Those I had, but I also had a Leonard Maltin one, which was every movie ever made, Maltin's star reviews or whatever. Yeah,
I mean in my job you kind of get a little cynical very fast. You don't get starstruck, but the one time I remember being very early starstruck was when I saw Leonard Maltin in the airport. It wasn't in Toronto. It was some U.S. city that I can't even remember now. But I went up to him and I thanked him and I shook his hand. And he looked, he also has that immortal presence. It's like Steve Martin. He's always looked the same age for the past 30 years.
How old is Leonard Maltin now?
I mean, he's got to be in his 80s or something.
But I feel like you and I need to record an episode of Toronto Mic'd of Leonard Maltin while we can. I need you to co-host that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do it. Yeah,
I need a film guy.
Godspeed, Leonard Maltin.
Okay, so I'm going to take a mental note. Okay, I want to track down Leonard Maltin. He can join remotely. You and I in the basement, and we'll get the full bio on Leonard Maltin and ask all these questions we've held on to for 30, 40 years or whatever. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay. Question for you though, when I'm curious about what movies you were into at this point in your life when somebody put this bug in your head that you could try journalism.
I mean, this was the late 90s or just the turn of the century, really. So, and 99 was, of course, a legendary year for movies. There's been books, there's been podcasts about the power of 99. So, I mean, this is the era of Fight Club. This is the end, Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, Magnolia, Spike Jonze being John Malkovich. This was a very good time.
I love all of
to
that.
Get into movies. And I think, because I worked at the theater and because also back then, my buddies and I on the weekend, we would go down to the Eaton Center Cineplex, the big, huge one with the 20 shoeboxes.
They were like giant TVs.
Yeah, basically. And by then it was a discount cinema. So it was a third run. So you'd buy $5 ticket and, we would go and spend the entire day there theater hopping. And I probably saw, Fight Club and Dogma, like Kevin Smith, I don't know, a dozen times that summer, collectively.
Fight Club is the first DVD I ever bought.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know what the first, I remember what the first VHS things I bought.
What was it?
It was a VHS of Casino, and because it was so long, it was that double VHS.
I remember the JFK was a double cassette, and I put the wrong one in first.
Oh, well, I mean, that might actually work given the editing style.
It did not work.
Yeah, I was a huge JFK nut. I was a huge Oliver Stone nut. And I actually remember, I think it was maybe 14 or something, and Oliver Stone was coming to give a talk at, I think, U of T. This must have been around Nixon or something, and I begged my dad to take me to this, and I was like the only person under 40 in the audience.
So there's a line from that movie that has stuck with me till now, and I don't know why this stuck with me, but it's Nixon goes, Mrs. Nixon is finished here. That's
right.
just the line.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah,
it's in the trailer.
Yeah. Because I only saw the movie once, but this line, like sometimes somebody will be saying that, and I'll just say it. Mrs. Nixon is finished here.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it sticks.
Geez, okay. And I want to shout out 1994 as well. Like 99, you mentioned some great movies, but 94, I know that Forrest Gump took home all the awards.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction was that year.
Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show, but Shawshank is also
okay.
That's all 94. What a year for cinema. And I just want to you mentioned some big time directors that guys our age all love, but I think like Tarantino for I saw this post. I think you might have seen it because you're a film guy. How would you miss it? But Uma Thurman said a quote to his daughter, her daughter, about keep your shoes on.
Yeah.
Working with Tarantino, keep your shoes on.
Keep your shoes on. Don't let him see your feet. Or maybe if you really want the role. I don't know.
I'm like, Tarantino doesn't even like hide it. He's like, I like feet.
Yeah.
And if you're an attractive woman in my movie, there's going to be long, lingering foot.
But in terms of like filmmaker picadillos and fetishes and, bad habits, pretty harmless.
Pretty harmless. And it just today, I had your episode right now, Barry, that we're recording right now, which is Wednesday, November 12th. This is in case a big time actor dies tonight or something. And they're like, why did
not Leonard?
Because this is, oh my God. Tomorrow, your episode's dropping tomorrow because Mike Stafford was just here with Supriya Dwivedi. And we were talking about, because Mike Stafford on an internal Teams chat used the P slur. There's a P slur. Okay. If you can't think of it, I'll tell you later. Okay. And it got him fired for cause. Okay. Because he used it, and he used it in this context. And then I was sharing the story of Wendy Mesley at CBC, who in an internal meeting said the N-word, but it was the title of this book, I believe, had the N-word in it.
Oh, right. Okay.
But she said the N-word. She didn't say the N-word. That's a weird sentence to say.
Yeah.
So she didn't do what I did. She said the N-word. And that she ended up getting removed from that show and then eventually packaged out of CBC. But I was just pointing out the fact that several times Quentin Tarantino drops the N-word in Pulp Fiction. And Pulp Fiction might just be my favorite movie of all time.
Interesting. It is a formative movie for me. I don't know. It's not my favorite movie of all time. It's definitely not my favorite Tarantino movie of all time. I think, I always should have a better answer for this
There's no
question.
wrong answers here.
I know. The de facto answer for me is The Player by Robert Altman. I mean, that's a movie lover's movie. So
you can't go wrong there. That's a great movie too. Here, and what was your favorite Tarantino movie?
I think it's Kill Bill, and I treat them as one.
Oh, you treat them as one.
I'm the annoying person like Tarantino who treats them as one.
Why not? You reserve the right to do that. I remember that feeling after one of like, what did I just see? That was amazing.
Oh yeah, I have strong memories of watching that at the Varsity like opening weekend and going, oh my God, can you get away with that?
Like, have you ever seen a bad Tarantino movie?
Yeah. I mean, I am.
And why is it Hateful Eight? No,
I'm a Hateful Eight defender.
Yeah, I like it too.
I have. It's taken me a while, and I still have not completely come around to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was fab. Yeah.
I'm getting there, and I think I'm almost there on the kind of hangout vibe that it is on. Okay. I guess I had problems with it initially.
But do you judge it on a scale of film, or do you judge it on the Tarantino scale of film?
I think you have to do both. I think you have to measure it against his very, relatively small canon, and you have to measure it against the rest of what's being put out there. Okay,
and remember, Tarantino worked at a film. He worked at a video store, right?
Yeah,
and you're working at a movie theater. So when you go in to clean up the popcorn and stuff, are there certain blockbusters where you've now seen the ending 100 times or something? Like, what is it like? I never worked in a movie theater, but I just imagine.
I saw the ending of American Pie. It must have been like 30,000 times. that point, like I came in just at like 99, which was great, and then 2000 and 2001, which were pretty awful from my memory. Like just a lot of very disposable junk. So, and a lot of disposable kids junk from what I recall. Yeah.
As a teaser of things that are imminent to be discussed in great detail here, what year does the first Fast and Furious movie launch into theaters?
Yeah, so that's 2001. And I have a very strong memory of watching that. By this point, I was not at the Promenade Cineplex anymore because it had shut down. And I was transferred, or I guess I asked. It's not like I was a corporate employee who was going to move, but like I was like, I need a job. And I went up to the Cineplex at Elgin Mills at the tip top of Richmond Hill there.
Okay, so this is a teaser that soon we will dive into this series of films, Fast and Furious, because you do have a new book.
Yes.
Your first book.
Yes.
So a teaser for what's to come in this conversation. The book, and this is why at the beginning I said, welcome to the family. It's all come just like a Tarantino film. You see it early, and then you know what? That's why they're in a diner in those shorts and that T-shirt. Now it all makes sense. It all comes together. But you know what's one thing about Pulp Fiction is when you open the scene with the honey bunny, honey bunny. What was the other guy's name? What was it?
Pumpkin.
Right. The version at the beginning and then the version of that same scene later in the movie are different.
Yes, they are slightly different.
Was that intentional?
Totally intentional. I mean, I think Tarantino has spoken about this because it's supposed to reflect the, fragmented memory. We all view that we have that Rashomon thing where we all have the different recollection of a
just like the Ben Rayner episode.
There you go. Yeah, right. Another full circle moment.
There's going to be plenty of those. But one thing is, let's say he did that by accident. Okay. Yep. We wouldn't believe him. Like we just say, "Oh, that's genius of Tarantino. Look at that."
That's true.
There's no wrong way. There's no, all roads lead to Tarantino.
Yeah, and he maybe in another 10 years he'll come out and he's like, you know what? Actually, it was a mess up on my part. Right. Sorry, I was just trying to reclaim my glory.
And then he'll tell us what's in that box or whatever.
Oh, the suitcase. Yeah, well, it's
all Marcellus' soul.
No, it's all the Oscars he was hoping to get.
That's very good. Now the book is called Welcome to the Family, the explosive story behind Fast and Furious, the blockbusters that supercharged the world. And we'll get into that, but we're still getting you to the Globe and Mail.
Right.
And then I do want to give you some gifts and thank some sponsors, and then we're going to talk about this book, and we're going to talk about that series. So you're at a movie theater, somebody says journalism, and where do you go? Because you've already been rejected from what we now call TMU.
Yes, although I think my timeline's maybe a bit skewed. I'm going to play a Tarantino thing and say it was intentional. Yeah. So I applied to J School at Ryerson at the same time.
Okay.
And I had also applied to, at one point I thought I was going to be an actor. I could even.
What made you think you could do that?
I really enjoyed drama class. I loved acting, and it was you get that instant gratification of applause and people laughing, and I was hooked that into my veins a little bit.
But did you do anything like ads or something?
No, I didn't do anything. Yeah. But so I did apply for York for their acting program, and I remember you had to go and do like this day-long audition process. Where they suss out like what do you think you're doing?
Right.
And I got it. I got in.
Okay.
But then I realized, you know what? I don't have the guts to do this for the rest of my life. I also hate memorizing. It's just not going to work. So, long story short, journalism was the entry point for me.
Okay, and you went to
I went to Ryerson.
Yeah,
TMU.
Now called TMU.
Yeah.
That also came up in the earlier conversation, and Supriya said it's redundant to be Toronto Metropolitan. It's like city.
It is. It sounds, when they first announced that name, it sounded like a RoboCop university. It was like, this is like the Metropolitan University of, whatever. It just doesn't sound real. I reserve all kinds of opinion about Egerton Ryerson and his history, but right. They could have consulted on that new name a little longer.
And shout out to The Edge, where the Garys were booking the police, and they actually booked way before our time. But I was around, but I was a kid. But Joy Division was going to play at The Edge, and of course, Ian Curtis took his own life the day before they left for North America. So there's a little Gary's trivia with The Edge, which is a local establishment. Okay, so let's get you to the Globe and Mail. So what, you get a degree? What do you get?
So I got a 4-year undergrad, Bachelor of Journalism.
Okay.
And
is this a university at this time?
It is a university. I think they still were calling themselves Polytechnic University, but university was definitely there.
Okay.
And yeah, so I worked for the campus newspaper, The Eye Opener. Shout out to The Eye Opener. I was the arts and entertainment editor there for a while. And through my education, I got in touch with this. I was working on a story. I got in touch with Glenn Sumi at Now.
So Sumi is his website.
There you go. Yeah. And we talked about something unrelated to film, and then he went and I guess looked me up and saw some of my movie reviews that I was writing for the student paper. And he said, hey, you want to do some freelance for us? And I was like their third or fourth or fifth stringer, and, went to go see all the children's movies nobody else wanted to see. That eventually became kind of like a regular preoccupation that I would do. And then I'm going to do the real condensed version because it's way too long, but
well, you don't have to do that.
I don't know who wants to go through my whole CV, but I went to the...
Oh, by the way, when you get to Karen Bliss, she sort of chastises me that I asked her questions that were in her CV, which she had emailed to me, even though I said, please don't send me this. So you just brace yourself for that. Okay. So I won't read your CV.
All right, good. Out of university, I had, it was fourth year, was coming to an end. I was like, I don't know what to do. I really wanted to be actually a magazine journalist, which was kind of, again, like a real thing that you could probably be at that time, because there was enough magazines in existence. But instead, I got my good friend at the time, still my very good friend, Robin Doolittle, who's at the Globe.
Sure.
She was like, I was just doing an internship at the National Post. They really need copy editors for the summer. Do you want to do that? And I was like, not really, but okay, I need money. So I went there and I got it, and I was on the night news desk as a copy editor for the summer, and that turned into a multi-year thing. And I was doing hard news copy editing, pagination, front page editing for 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually a position opened up in the arts department, and I went and got it, and I was arts editor there for a little bit, and then hopscotched over to McLean's for a little bit, and then went back to the Post. And then 2015 rolls around, and the Globe approached me, and I've been there ever since.
Okay, so sorry, 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
Okay, so did they give you anything for your tenure?
I think I got a little gift certificate to something.
To what? The keg? What's going on?
No, I don't know if it was the keg, but it
Starbucks?
Something on the level of the keg. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm going to see if I can top it, okay? So let me see if I can top it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Monty Hall here or something, but I have in my freezer right now, courtesy of Palma Pasta, I have a large frozen lasagna. Would you like to take home with you, Barry, a large frozen lasagna?
Oh my gosh, you've just helped solve my dinner conundrum for the week.
And it'll be for leftovers too. This is going to get you to the weekend for sure.
My kids and wife will be thrilled. Thank you.
Okay, how old are your kids?
I have 3. My eldest is a boy. He is 11. My middle is also a boy. He is 5. And my youngest is a little girl who is 4.
Okay, here's a commonality we have. You ready? We both have 11-year-old sons.
Whoa. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Shout out to Jarvis. He's my third of 4, but he's an 11-year-old boy.
You have 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can. Is it
you
still
need that.
time?
You need that lasagna more than me.
You know it, brother. You know it. One of mine lives in Montreal right now, so I'd have to, give her a package.
FedEx that lasagna.
FedEx that lasagna to you. Let me invite you, Barry, and by the way, bring the whole family. I'm just letting you know you're invited to TMLX 21, which is taking place November 29th at noon. It's noon to 3. It's a live recording at Palma's Kitchen in Mississauga. So you get the family, you go to Palma's Kitchen. Everyone eats for free. Palma Pasta will feed you all. There's a hot table. That's where they make the food, for goodness sakes. So get some fresh Italian food. I will bring fresh Great Lakes beer. The kids don't get any of that. I need to see ID, okay? But you get that, and I have some to take home with you. If you wanted to, I'm just letting you know, this one, the lager, fresh from the fridge, and if you wanted a cold beer while we chatted, I'm just saying, you could pop that. No pressure, but it's there for you.
Okay.
So you got fresh craft beer from Great Lakes, and everybody gets it at TMLX 21. Also, everybody who comes to TMLX 21 on November 29th from noon to 3 p.m. will receive a gift from Retro Festive, and it's going to be related to a Christmas story. What do you think of A Christmas Story?
what do I think of the movie?
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Actually, you know what? I have very traumatic memories of the Christmas Story.
Is that because you once stuck your tongue in a pole?
No, fortunately not. But there's that scene, and I only kind of half remember it because I've been too.
You can't revisit it.
I can't revisit it.
Okay.
Like he's climbing the thing, and he goes to the Santa, and like I think he gets kicked down or something,
Yes.
or he falls down.
Yeah, he gets booted. You'll shoot your eye out, kid, or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
He gets
yeah.
booted down.
Yeah.
I remember this.
I remember, and I was like, "Wow, that is so! It's such a cruel scene for this kid." And I think that's like the first time I was exposed to it at all, and it just has so put me off the movie that
Isn't that funny though? How when you get things at a certain time and you get almost like traumatized by the movie.
completely. And I'm sorry because I know it is a staple of Christmas. Is a Canadian.
A lot of it's filmed
thing.
right here.
Yeah. So it's just it's a touchstone that's missing for me.
You know, Barry, don't accept the gift at TMLX 21 because it will be related to that movie, and I don't want to trigger you at all.
Right.
So, but I do have something related to a different movie. This is what you're taking home. Maybe you and your kids, everybody will love
Yeah,
this.
okay. Yeah.
Moose
Yeah.
Mug
Yeah.
from Christmas Vacation.
Okay, the Griswolds. Yes, I mean this is a better Christmas movie memory because I think I've seen this movie 100 times over the
It's,
years.
I've seen it a bunch too. So thank you to Retro Festive for the Moose Mug for Barry. And if anybody wants to save 10% right now at retrofestive.ca, use the promo code FOTM. You can do that right now.
All right, nice.
Okay, so let me get straight. So everyone's invited to TMLX 21. I did that. I want to shout out Nick Iones. He has a great podcast called Building Success, and he's got another great podcast called Building Toronto Skyline. Subscribe, enjoy. I hope to see Nick at TMLX 21. If anyone out there is looking for creative or dynamic work environments, the man to talk to is Doug Mills. He's at Blue Sky Agency, and you can write him now, Doug at blueskyagency.ca. And one thing to talk to him about, there's many things to discuss with Doug, but these silent pods, like everyone's returning to the office. Does the Globe want you ever in the office? Or are they like you write from home and just come into, I don't know.
No, the Globe would prefer people to be in the office at least 2 to 3 days a week.
And is that a relatively new thing post-pandemic that they want you in maybe 3 days a week?
No, I mean, it's been in place for a while. It at least a year, maybe more.
Okay.
So as soon as things were a little bit more coast is clear, that was kind of the thing that went out there.
So with all this return to office being mandated in, there's a lot of need for like privacy booths, and there's a whole bunch of creative options, and Doug's your guy for that. Absolutely. Recycle My Electronics. You probably have a room, or maybe you have a whole floor full of old electronics, old devices, or old cables. You got a whole bunch of old cables going on over there. If you do, Barry, go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. Put in your postal code and find out where you can drop it all off to be properly recycled so those chemicals do not end up in our landfill. Does that sound like a plan?
I am all for chemical-free landfills.
No. Good for you. Measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home. They got a great podcast called Life's Undertakings, so you can measure what you wish, Barry.
I can measure my own coffin.
And that joke has never been told. Oh, remind me about a joke. I want to know, because that joke I've heard 1,000 times now, but I think there's a joke I heard from Mike Stafford earlier today regarding you, and I'm curious if you've heard it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times. But first, I just want to tell you before I even do it, shopkindling.ca, if you go there anytime between 9 a.m. and 11 p.m., and you can order your cannabis products, it will be in your hand, delivered for free in less than an hour. So in under an hour, you've got your cannabis delivered to you. You can track it online, and it's a very discreet process. Shopkindling.ca. What were you about to say there before I rudely interrupted you?
I was trying to predict what this joke.
So go ahead.
I
predict. What do you think? I said at the end of the show, as I always do, I wrapped up with Mike Stafford and Supriya Dwivedi. Do you know these two people?
Only by byline again.
Yeah, they were the morning show on 640 for a few years before Supriya quit, and then Mike was fired, but it's all discussed in this wild episode I just wrapped up. But at the end, I said my next guest is Barry Hertz, and then Mike said, do you want to guess?
Everybody Hurts.
Good guess. Mike asked, Mike said, does he have a brother named Dick?
Oh, actually, you know what? I've never heard that.
I don't know if you're putting me on or not.
No, I swear I've never heard that one because I don't think anybody has really.
It's not clever enough?
Anybody has thought, this is a joke this guy needs to hear. This is the joke the world needs to hear right now. So I guess kudos to Mike for
Mike Stafford. It's a new one for you.
It's a new one. Yeah.
And I chuckled because to be polite, and then I wondered, I wonder if Barry hears this one a lot. But it turns out you don't.
I do not, and I hope to never hear it again.
That's it for that joke. Okay, so Barry, why did you write Welcome to the Family, the explosive story behind Fast and Furious, the blockbusters that supercharged the world?
I wrote it because I have always been I consider myself a big tent moviegoer. I like the big, dumb blockbusters as much as I love the art house and the indie and the foreign language and all that stuff. And I have been following the series since I first saw that first movie when I was working in a movie theater in the summer of 2001. And I've been watching the series evolve, and it keeps getting crazier and more ridiculous and absurd and more successful. And I thought, okay, you know what? Here's a franchise that has evolved in a very strange way. But at the same time, I started to think more deeply about it. It's just as interesting a movie to watch as it is to think about in terms of the behind the scenes drama, the evolution of the business element. And I thought, you know what? You could probably trace the last quarter century of Hollywood by looking at the last quarter century of the Fast films.
Fascinating. Hey, to get us in the mood here, I did want to play this because you're right. It's my confession to you is I've never dipped my toe in the Fast and Furious universe.
I mean, you are not alone among people I talked to when I first said I was doing this project, and they looked at me a little sideways. But that's kind of the other thing I wanted to do with it, is that I thought, here's a series where you kind of mention it to somebody and they're like, that's pretty stupid.
Well, it just looks dumb.
Yeah, like looks dumb. I was like, you know what? It's actually hasn't been given its proper due critically, or, you know, in terms of its cultural impact or whatever. And I thought, here's the opportunity.
Well, you're doing that now, but to set the mood here, I am going to play, and it's very visual, as you can imagine, and there's no visual aspect to this podcast, but we're going to listen for 90 seconds, okay, just to get us in the mood here. This is 2001. I think there's cars and stuff here.
That sounds like cars.
Imagine if you will.
Let's go for a little ride.
This is yours, but if you win, you get her too.
What the hell is that all about?
A business deal that went sour. Plus, I made the mistake of sleeping with his sister.
So Barry, listening to that in the headphones, and again, very visual.
Very visual. They're you know, they're angry cars. Very, very mad.
A lot of
Very
like,
furious.
and I mean, that's the voice of Fred Durst, if I'm
It
correct.
is. It
Limp
is
Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit era on the soundtrack. Yeah.
So like I'm listening at headphones, sitting with you, and I haven't dipped my toes in Fast and Furious, but I'm thinking now to myself, and part of this is because I had a copy of Welcome to the Family, the explosive story behind Fast and Furious, the blockbusters that supercharged the world. And I gotta say, like, I feel kind of amped up, like I could run through this wall and just watch them all. How many are there now?
There are 11 if you count the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw. So yes, there are, and I do. So 11 films.
11 again, and is there a 12th one planned?
Well, that's kind of like the drama that the book kind of hinges on at the very end. The last film made was Fast X, aka Fast 10, which was released in the summer of 2023, and it ended on a giant literal cliffhanger. Like, it involved a mountain. The characters were at one end of the mountain, and immediate danger was coming their way, and then it just ended. And there has not been any green light or production or go ahead on a sequel since. So we're coming up on 3 years now.
But there must be a reason for that.
There is a reason. There are a couple reasons, and I get into this into the book, but one of which is budget. These things ended up costing insane amounts of money. The last one, Fast X, was, by some reports, one of the most expensive movies ever made, at something like $453 million. And that's just a production budget. We're not counting marketing or anything like that.
Right.
So, and the return has been diminishing, certainly in North America. It's still pretty popular abroad.
It sounds, again, I'm not part of the community, but I'm like, I'm a pop culture guy who likes to absorb what's going on. It feels big. Like, I always think to myself, like, oh, I would like to be a part of this event. Like this, it's almost like the Jays in the World Series or something. Like, there is this feeling of like an event when one of these seems to premiere, and then everybody and their buddies are going to go see it opening weekend. Like, it does feel big.
It is big. I mean, it is one of the biggest franchises in history. It is past, or it was past until this past summer, Jurassic Park. Like, it was bigger than that. It's bigger than the Mission Impossible films. It's bigger than the Batman films if you put all those together. Even.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess though we're not talking like, is Star Wars number one?
I would have to check, because I think they count all the Marvel films as one franchise, and there's like 35 of those
Avengers
versus like 10 or 11 Star Wars movies.
Right.
But I think, that's also funny. Like, there are as many, if not more at this point, Fast and Furious movies than there are Star Wars movies.
That's interesting. But there was a original trilogy, then there was
the original trilogy, then there was the Lucas's Return of the trilogy, and then there was the new J.J. Abrams trilogy. So that brings us to 9 plus Rogue One,
and there's Solo.
So we're tied.
Okay, that's a fun fact right there. So your book about this series, and I am in a moment I'm going to ask you how it's evolved, and then ask you about a few people that I associate with this series. Like, it's not authorized, right? So like this, this is an unauthorized look at this wild and strange franchise, an important franchise. So how many people did you end up interviewing when you were putting this together? I
ended up with, I think the final tally was about 179. And some of those were multiple interviews. So yeah.
So how long did it take you?
It took me. I started work on this in the end of January, like the tail end of January 2024. So it came together relatively quickly, because I kind of wanted it initially to come out when the next movie was going to come out. And then that just kind of never happened, and that brought in a whole new element. But I hit the...
Well, you know what? I realized what a terrible host, because you said there was a couple of reasons, and then you went on about how the budget was big, but the couple is 2.
Oh, yeah. A couple is at least 2. Although my wife always makes fun of me. I think couple can be more than 2. But
see, I think that's a few.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know.
A couple is always 2.
This is the debate we constantly have, and I recognize both you and her are right.
I think
it's just
she's right,
spiritually, I think it's not right. But yeah, the other main reason, and this one is kind of underreported, is that Vin Diesel, who is of course the lead of this franchise.
That's the voice I heard in that trailer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He is facing a civil lawsuit for sexual battery, and that was supposed to go to a jury trial in this past August, and it has since been pushed to February of 2026. I have been made to understand that there is going to be no official movement on a new movie until that matter is settled one way or the other. So
for somebody like myself who now has decided he will, and I guess I should go in order, right? So start with this.
I mean, yeah, when people ask me which, you do need to kind of go in order, even though, and this is something that the book deals with a lot, and I don't want to, bog things down in nerd minutia of the fast verse, but the chronology, the actual timeline of the movies is not linear. It is actually 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, Marvel does that too, right? Like, it's not like the Marvel universe was in order.
Well, they kind of, things intersect, and it's generally pretty linear.
Okay.
But yeah, the fast verse mixed it up.
Okay, so I'll go in order of release, just to be safe there. But what is the the importance and role of Vin Diesel in this franchise?
I mean, he's huge. I mean, he was in the first one. It's interesting. The first one was developed as a Paul Walker star vehicle. He was attached to it at the very beginning, way before Vin ever got involved. But when Vin was cast and the kind of, energy and chemistry that those two guys had of bouncing off each other, it turned into very much a dual star project. And there were contract negotiations and people were coming in and out. Diesel wasn't in the second movie while Walker was. Walker wasn't in the third movie and Diesel was only there for a last minute cameo. But all of that to say is by the time they got around to the fourth movie, Diesel had negotiated himself into a position of power. And he was not only the star, but he's one of the producers.
I know him as the Iron Giant.
He's great at the Iron Giant. I mean, he is a great performer. But he is like somebody, I put him in kind of like the Tom Cruise realm of things in a little bit. Tom Cruise is much more versatile, but Diesel and Cruise are both powered by this self-determination that is just unbelievable. They will things into existence by pure force of charisma.
I'm glad you said they will things, because when I think of Vin Diesel, like I think of the voice first, and I always think, you have a great voice, but neither you or I have one of those voices where we can go make a living off this voice. But Vin Diesel, obviously an Iron Giant, it was a voiceover role, but with a voice like that, you can do so much. And the guy I'm thinking of now, because I see him pop up on these RBC ads all the time when I was watching the World Series and stuff, but Will Arnett.
Oh yes, I just talked with Will earlier this week, who was in Toronto, because he was doing a special screening of his new movie with Bradley Cooper.
So he's okay. So I want to hear like a titch about that, but I do want to say that Will Arnett, a local guy who I loved in Arrested Development, which is probably when I first kind of got to know who was Will Arnett. But that voice, like I always wonder, what's his career like without that voice?
I don't know. I mean, he that's not a put on or anything. Like he talks with that voice. Like it is like listening to a commercial of
because him and Vin Diesel. They have different voices, but they both could. I mean, and they're both more than just a voice or whatever. But they could ride that express to.
Yeah, and Vin has written it. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Right. He is required to say 3 words, and he has written that to an entire franchise.
Okay, well. Jeez. Okay, so what is this movie Will Arnett's in about?
It's good. It's called Is This Thing On? And it's directed by Bradley Cooper, who is a longtime real life friend of Will Arnett. And it is about it is kind of it's at once a stand-up comedy movie and it's a divorce movie. Will Arnett plays a guy who's been married to Laura Dern's character forever, and they come to a point where they're like, we need to separate. And then Will Arnett, as like a tool of catharsis, goes to an open mic night and discovers he's not too shabby at stand-up comedy. And it's not like some agent spots him in the crowd and we watch his ascendancy to stardom. It's more about him using that as a tool to figure out why his marriage was broken and how to fix that. And it's quite good.
It sounds interesting.
It's like the first kind of dramatic role he's had in a long, long time. And it's very meaty and it's very good and it's very well directed. And Bradley Cooper gave himself a small supporting role as like comic relief. And you would think like in another universe, it would be the opposite. Like Bradley Cooper would be the guy and Will Arnett would be the comic relief. But he's like, I'm going to give you this platform and like, go for it. And he goes for it.
Well, kind of similar to what we said earlier about Seth Rogen. Like these funny guys have dramatic chops.
Totally. Seth needs to do more dramatic roles. I would love to see him in more dramatic roles.
The other guy I always think about is Robin Williams, right? Like,
oh yeah,
zany, funny guy, but man, in the right movie, what a tremendous dramatic actor.
Awakenings. Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh my God. I have a trauma experience from a very young me being taken to the theater and seeing Popeye.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's kind of horrifying for a lot of different reasons.
And it's like funny because I have a thing on the wall. Octopus wants to fight, but there's a scene, I guess, with an octopus. I was probably 5 years old or 6 years old. Like I probably shouldn't have been at Popeye, but it really kind of messed with my head for a while there. So, back to Altman, right?
I don't blame you. Yeah. When I think that was also during Robin's like one of his bigger cocaine phases.
Well, he's had them, that's for sure. Oh man, we could do whole shows about these guys, but got to get back to Fast and Furious here for a moment here. So, How has, you mentioned the evolution, so 25 years of Fast and Furious, and of course this is all in the book, and people should grab a copy of this book. I like saying the title, like you're saying, why does he keep saying the whole title?
You should read the audiobook of it.
Oh, please. You know who should do that? Will Arnett.
I know. I did it, but I would have killed to get Will Arnett.
You did it.
I did it, yeah.
You got a good voice. Like,
Thank you.
You know,
There's no Will Arnett, though.
No, but who can say they're a Will Arnett here? That guy can do it all. You know, he was going to be in a reboot of what's Kit from? Knight Rider. I know, what's Kit from? I should know that.
He was going to be the car?
He was going to be the car.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And he had to drop out late because he had a lucrative voiceover deal with a competitor car. Like this Kit was going to be a specific car, but it wasn't going to be the brand that, and I don't know if he's with GM, I can't remember now, but you probably heard his voice in a million car commercials.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
So he couldn't do it. It was like a violation of his agreement with the other car company.
I think that's actually probably for the best. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that Knight Rider 2.0 would have gotten very far.
The voice of the original Kit is still alive, but he's the guy.
Isn't it William Daniels?
It is William Daniels.
Yeah, a Principal Feeney.
100%, and and I'm again I'm a little older than you, but I was more of a Wonder Years guy, but that was his Fred Savage's younger brother.
I caught the tail end of Wonder Years. I mean, it
was a wonderful series.
It was. I have very fond, if again perhaps a little traumatizing memories of that Little Monsters movie he did with Howie Mandel.
I do have faint memories of this, but I couldn't remember.
Okay, it's like it's like an imaginary monster that's real, and he enters like this monsterverse. But
isn't he the kid? Is he the kid getting red? He's getting
in
red
Princess Bride.
In Princess Bride. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, actually, I just watched that with my kids. They saw it for the first time like
inconceivable
2 days ago.
I have great memories of. There's an Andre the Giant mug.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, he's good in that movie.
Yeah, yes, he's great in that movie, and that whole. I do not think that word means what you think it means.
Yes,
that's a great movie.
The meme originator.
So over the last 25 years of Fast and Furious, how has, like in a nutshell, again, we got to read this book, but how has this film series evolved?
Well, I mean, it started off as this scrappy street racing movie that was pretty ground level, and a B movie about fast cars and, hot girls and crime and undercover cops, and, very much in the Point Break mold, if not very much a ripoff of Point Break, which the filmmakers kind of copped to, more or less. And then it evolved into this, first kind of like a heist movie on a global scale, and then they're working as basically super spies for this government agency. So it basically turned into a tiny little Los Angeles street racing movie into a global franchise with huge aspirations and the kind of action set pieces that are reserved for your Marvels or your DCs or your Star Wars.
And you call it Welcome to the Family because even though I've never seen a movie in this franchise, I know about the use. Heck, I'm going to play this and then we have to talk about this. But I pulled a supercut I found on YouTube here.
I don't have friends. I got family.
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 Family?
Family. Family.
Your family.
There's all kinds of family, Brian.
Disrespecting my whole family.
And now you found your family with these drift nuts.
Senhan was family.
I'm so sorry that you ripped my family apart. Family?
Look at our family now.
I already lost my family once.
Family just got bigger. There's always room for family.
Voice.
We're family.
I know you guys are family.
I guess we get the idea. Literally another 75 seconds at this, but they say family a lot, but that wasn't always the case, right? Like you made a good point that in the first movie, family is not a thing.
No, I think although there was a clip in there of Ted Levine saying the word family in the first movie, and I think he is the only character to utter that word in that movie. He's definitely the first character to do so. Maybe it's said a little bit later on, but yeah, it did not start off as this kind of family is everything dynamic. I mean, there was an element of found family with Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto character, gathering up all these kind of, his neighborhood friends who were also crooks, and, coming together at this one house in this Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. But as the series kind of progressed, and as I think, Diesel's influence is pretty, you can't discount it at this point. He was the one who kind of brought in we need emotional ties to these characters. They can't just be superheroes who at the end of the day stand atop a pile of rubble and have saved the day, or even a romantic kind of thing where the hero and the love interest, embrace at the very end. This is about people hugging each other in a platonic or family way. And that's why audiences have continued to be invested in their adventures in survival.
You're right, because that One Trick Pony being like a street racing film, that can't go the distance. Go in the distance. It's a cake song.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. But the street racing film morphs into this series about family, and that'll take you for a ride.
That'll take you for a ride. Yeah. And so they by the time they were doing the fourth and then the fifth, they were like, there's very much a level. There's a ceiling to the street racing audience. We've done everything we kind of can.
That's what turned me off. I think that's what turned me off. I just wasn't a car guy.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a car guy. I mean, I
drove a Mazda Protege.
I drove a RAV4 here, and I will drive it like hell on the way home. Right. But I can't drive stick to save my life. I can't change my own oil. If I get a spare tire, God help me, CAA, please come and rescue me.
Right.
But I always like looking at nice cars, and I always like watching people drive them in very dangerous ways. This is an emotional remove from it.
But once they strike upon this family theme, and especially when you hear Vin Diesel say it, it's like, okay, wow. But like in the Simpsons world, are you a Simpsons fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they talk about the Flandersification, where basically like the character becomes they do a thing and then they lean on that thing and then that thing becomes amplified and it becomes the thing.
Right.
Maybe like Steve Urkel in Family Matters. Or
yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, it turns into.
But so once they discover, hey, we have this family thing. And again, I haven't seen the series. I'm going to see it. You've got me all jazzed up here. But like maybe they're like, let's just strike this hard and go hard, and it becomes like the family thing. Yeah. And maybe when you go with your buddies now to see the new film in the theater. If there is a new film, we'll stay tuned to what happens with Vin Diesel's court case. But maybe part of the fun is that, I don't know, do you throw toast at the screen when he says family? I don't know.
No, I think people just like solemnly nod and go, family.
Or woo, right. I can hear some woo.
There's probably some woos, yeah.
I got to catch up before this 12th film or whatever is released, so I can see it.
You got some time. You got some time.
Okay, you know what? Can an 11-year-old son, like, would your 11-year-old son watch Fast and Furious?
Yeah, my 11-year-old has seen some of them, not all of them. Some of them he's, I don't know. 11-year-olds have a different metabolism these days. One of them, I think he was like, "This one's boring." I was like, "What are you talking about? They're like dropping planes from the sky."
Nothing. This is like Leslie Nielsen in the
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. There's the fireworks going off. All right. Now I got to ask you about. You mentioned him earlier. It sounds like originally he was going to be the guy for this series, but Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. No longer with us. Okay.
Oh,
I don't know. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
it happens. But. All I know from this, of course, I know about his death in a car accident. It was like he wasn't driving, but this was a Ferrari.
It was a Porsche. I don't remember the exact model, but it was a Porsche. He was a passenger. It was a fast car. I mean, so you have. I mean, that's like an inflection point in the series, and in a lot of ways for the industry, is you have this young-ish star of this movie about fast cars doing dangerous things and dies in an accident with a fast car doing a dangerous thing in the middle of making one of the movies, not finished and not nearly completed, but also not so early that they could kind of start over and, go do it very easily from scratch. And it was a very, traumatic thing for the filmmakers. It was, awful for the fans, and it really did change, gears. Sorry for the franchise.
Pun intended here. But am I right that he had a twin brother?
He did not have twin brothers. Actually, Vin Diesel has a twin brother, who is also named Paul. Yes, it's kind of unremarked that much in Vin Diesel lore, but Paul Walker had two younger brothers, Cody and Caleb. And they, I forget, one of them was like a good match for his facial features. One was a good match for his build. And so as part of finishing the seventh movie where he died in the midst of production, they brought the brothers in and kind of digitally reconstituted a performance using the brothers, using old footage of Paul, using some really cutting edge visual effects work. And that's how they got it. And watching Seven requires the audience to understand how they made this movie because otherwise it makes no sense whatsoever.
Interesting. And of course, a big song comes out of that.
Huge song. See You Again, Charlie Puth, Wiz Khalifa. I mean, that was I think it still remains one of the most viewed YouTube music videos of all time. Billions and billions of views.
Like you could spend, we talked about Limp Bizkit for that first one, but there's a lot to be written about the music.
I think there's actually like a whole separate book to be written about, because the evolution of like popular music through the Fast films is there, because you start off with that Limp Bizkit era of that kind of hardcore dude rock, and then in Too Fast it goes into like the origins of like Southern hip hop. And then we get like the kind of Tokyo Drift, like the DJ, like electronic scene, Teriyaki Boys, and then you get to the Wiz Khalifa, Charlie Puth stuff, which was just like a juggernaut.
Wow. Okay. Now you mentioned a couple of reasons, and couple does mean two. I agree with your wife on this here, but you might have meant a few. Like, so we talked about the budget, the high budget to create these movies as they went on. So they got the budget got bigger and bigger, and then of course Vin Diesel has a legal issue, and I guess they're waiting to see what happens on that front. But isn't there another one, like The Rock versus Vin Diesel?
Oh yeah. Well, that was kind of there was. So The Rock joined the franchise in the 5th film, and just immediately his participation leveled it up to another kind of level, I guess. Everybody loved him. I love him. Just brought that huge alpha male energy into it, and he had been a part of it ever since. But ever since he joined the franchise, there had been tensions between him and Vin in terms of ego and just like marquee star pissing matches that are more common in Hollywood than I think we all think, or maybe as common as we expect.
Common in Hollywood and in Toronto morning radio circles.
Oh wow, okay. So who's the Vin and who's the Dwayne of the Toronto morning radio?
I'll
circle?
tell you right after. You won't believe the stories I've collected on Toronto. Right. That's your next book. Oh, do you know what your next book is about? Or is that a rude question?
No.
This hasn't even. It's only out on November 25th.
I've been tossing a few ideas around, but I haven't really had time or the energy to sit down and actually commit to thinking about something as hard. But I would like to do another
movies that cause trauma and
a Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story and Popeye.
A
tale of two films or whatever. We'll talk
That'll
about.
Sell.
I also had a bad moment with The Wrath of Khan. That bug crawling into the ear really got to me. And I wasn't 6 anymore. I guess I was a little bit older. I don't know, was I like 11 or 12 or something?
Yeah, I don't like bugs, so I feel you.
The whole scene, I just wasn't ready for that.
No. I actually there's a scene in. You ever see The Sisters Brothers with John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix from like maybe 6-7 years ago?
I like those actors.
And it's based on a Canadian Patrick DeWitt. It's based on a novel by him. But there's a scene in which like a spider, like a tarantula or something, like crawls into John C. Reilly's mouth. Oh
my god!
While he's sleeping, and I just like it's like I can't think about this movie anymore. Anyways, side note.
No, it's like when you see Indiana Jones and
I can't do Temple of Doom. Yeah. Cannot do Temple of Doom. No.
Wow, a lot of ground we cover here. So so you said you don't know what you're writing about next.
No, don't know what I'm writing about next.
Even though I'm pitching you ideas right here.
You're pitching me. I got a lot of new ideas to take back to my publisher tomorrow. But
and that's Grand Central Publishing.
As Grand Central Publishing division of Hachette out of New York. So yeah, shout out to Grand Central.
Okay. And is there, I know that it's out on November 25th, but
That's
is there like a preferred way you want the Fast and Furious fans to pick up this book? 179 members and cast and crew that you talked to.
No, however you most enjoy and are comfortable buying your books, buy it through there. You can buy it at all the expected retailers, Amazon, Indigo, independent bookstores in your local hood. It is available everywhere. However you want it, you can get it.
And Jason Statham's a part of this franchise too.
He is, yeah. He joined in the very end of the 6th film and has stuck around.
Well, no wonder the budget's so high.
Yeah.
Too many bodies.
There's too many. I mean, there's a lot of big bald men in this franchise, and as a bald man, I maybe that's why I identify with it so much.
Okay, you know what? I wasn't going to mention the hair.
No, it's fine.
I'm follically blessed, and I never know if it's a sore spot.
I've long since accepted my fate.
But you make up for it with the beard. I can't grow a beard that good.
Oh, have you tried? I don't know. Just put some.
There's been periods where I let neglect take over, and I'm this is kind of Cliff Clavin-esque.
Okay, that's good.
Well, yeah, it depends on your perspective, but. Man, I feel like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Oh, good.
That would
FOTM.
They should borrow that line.
Oh, for the
I feel like I
beautiful
wrote that
family
line, right?
ship.
Hey, there's a movie I'll be watching in December. It's an old movie. You might have heard of it. It's called It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I sort of like how I resisted Fast and Furious. I don't know if I thought I was too cool or whatever, but I resisted this black and white 40s thing for decades. Like I would hear about this and references to it, and of course the Simpsons would parody it and all this stuff. But I'm like, it just never really drew me in. And then one day I said, fuck it, I'm going to find out what all the fuss is about. And this is only like, I think maybe we're going back like 10 or 15 years. So I'm in my 30s. And I said, let me see what's going on with this movie. I watched the damn thing. I bawl my eyes out. And every year since, I watched the damn thing and bawl my eyes out. I think it's practically a perfect film.
Wow. Okay, that's how I feel about Fast 5. So.
Okay, I'm writing this down. So start with 5.
Well, no. Start with 1.
Start with 1. I will do this. You've inspired me here. How was this for you?
This was great. This was a lot of fun, and I got some lasagna and some beer and a tape measure. So and a
don't forget the moose
National
mug.
Lampoon moose mug.
You did all right.
Beer. Yeah.
The new John Candy documentary is pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Not like it's not like don't give it an Oscar or anything.
No,
but
no.
It was a charming enough retrospective of a guy that many of us quite like.
And good throwback to a certain era of Canadian journalism.
Yes.
All those interviews with him where he was put on the spot in very, yeah.
Well, what do you think we're doing here, Barry? That's literally like when I don't know, it's some far off future when they make the Barry Hertz documentary. We're going to hear moments from this chat right here because we had time to breathe. I gave you an hour and I took an extra 10 because I said, what's he going to do, storm out of here? I wish.
No, you haven't given me my lasagna yet.
And that, here's the new... Okay, that's Subdivisions. I've been told by Rob Pruce is actually me saying it, so it's not Mark Daly from... apparently I said it and he took it. I have to hurry up now. I got too excited about this brand new theme, which only debuted a couple of days ago. But that brings us to the end of our 1797th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs, and much love to all who made this possible. That is Retro Festive, Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, Nick Iones, who called me during this recording, Kindling, go to shopkindling.ca, recyclemyelectronics.ca, Blue Sky Agency, and Ridley Funeral Home. Friday, architect Les Klein in the basement talking about how he fulfilled Moses Znaimer's vision for 299 Queen Street West. Don't miss it!